Hey everyone. Sorry, I'm starting a little late. And I gotta get my dogs out here in a moment. I had a emergency to deal with. Hope everyone's doing well. I know John said he was. Yeah, my dogs are really excited to be on camera. Hope you're all doing well. And by the way, I just launched a new AutoHotkey course. This is really intro course though, so for a lot of you, it's not going to be overly helpful. But yeah, I've been helping out a local restaurant, and their English is very limited. Anyway, he just called me and needed a ride as his mechanic. So anyway, I went and got him and let him borrow my car. At least that's what I think I did. So I hope you're all doing well. Maybe I'll show some stuff I've been working on if no one joins right away. Hopefully I'm in the right. Oh, this meeting is. Yeah, I've been between launching those two AutoHotkey courses. One's free. The free course has, I think, 6 scripts in it that are really great for noobs. So if you're just starting to learn AutoHotkey, there's some really good stuff in there. And then the other course is just a lot of the frequently asked questions and stuff. And when you first start coding, finding an image to click. Not finding an image, but when you find an image, clicking it, sending mouse clicks, sending keystrokes. What editor to use, what version of AutoHotkey to use, just lots of the basic stuff that, to me, when you first start learning AutoHotkey, it's a bit overwhelming. So it's cool. Aha, here's John.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Good, and you? Sorry
Good.
to be late. I'm a little bit a too tight schedule this morning.
I was late myself, honestly.
Yeah.
15 minutes before the meeting, I got a call from someone asking if I could give them a ride because their car's in the shop. And I'm like, no, but I could go pick you up and give you my car. And then when I left, and then all of a sudden I looked down, which is never happens, but my car was on empty, blinking with the light. I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of gas too. So anyway, it worked. But it's funny because his English, he's from Mexico and his English is so limited. I'm like, I think I loaned him my car. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it was that funny. But anyway. How are you doing?
Good. Trying to open the chat.
And okay, did you have a good birthday?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, good. How about
every day? So do we have friends on the call?
Yeah, let me
there.
Let me find. I always hate with Zoom how it.
CIV Reborn is with us.
Yeah, that's Hellbent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his. And it has something to do with how he started his channel years ago. That was what he named his channel, because I think it was a certain game, but he was, his. I forget what you call it.
Okay.
Yeah, but he goes by Hellbent.
If we don't have a question at some point, I can share something I worked on this week.
Sure. Well, if you're up for it, plan to start working on it now. Participants. Right. Copy link. Okay, so I'll put this here into the chat.
I said hi every day, everybody. Yeah, it's good to join us on Zoom.
Well, you could automate your hi every day, Jean, if you
yeah, yeah. every day at 8?
I've actually, my dad very reliably texts
Hi,
me
Joe.
every morning, and I've thought about automating a response to him, but and alter them. It's also like I thought about a great tool to make for men. It'll text like love statements to their wife. One every day, sends a different. I love you, something
To their wife and other.
Right. Yeah, that's the add-on. Yeah. Right. And you never cross them, right?
Make
you never.
Yeah, you can make a distribution list. Yeah. We have
That's
Joe
hilarious.
with us, Joe Nor. Maybe you don't know him. He's a quick access pop-up user. Is very present, active on the QAP forum. So I'm glad to see him with us here. So if you have questions about quick access pop-up, we can discuss in this call questions about AutoHotkey programming. I think Joe is also doing knowing well AutoHotkey or quick access pop-up questions. What I would have to share, Joe, if we don't have something else, and we can interrupt if we have questions from other people. But I had to work this week on. I wanted to, in fact, to intercept the context menu that you have when you right-click in an edit control in a GUI. Edit control is a text box, and when you right-click in the text box, it will open a context menu that is created by Windows, so you don't control it. But I wanted to control it. I wanted to intercept this menu and do something for myself, for my clipboard application that I'm working on. So I found some code to do that, so I could share what I put together to make your own. In fact, with this you could customize the context menu that appears in and edit a text box in AutoHotkey GUI.
Are you using post messages? Send them or post
on message, yeah, something similar to that. So I'll share my screen.
Yep.
It
is amazingly powerful. Now, this is where it gets to be a bit more complex in AutoHotkey, right? But the fact that you can actually truly monitor the queue, with API queue, and see what's going on, and
when you have the recipe, that's not that complex. In fact, these two lines here are the key to intercepting the context menu call. So it's to intercept the right button down. So when the user click the right menu down in a given control, and when he release the mouse, so there's a button up. So there are two messages sent to that you can intercept to do that. So so what we have here, we have the code where I build a context menu that is, in this case, very similar to the default one. So it's just to mimic the default context menu. Here, it has to be called at the launch of your script. So it is in fact called by this go sub here, but it has to be executed before the return that is called initially in your script. And so what it does is says that when your script receives a message with this number, call this function. And this function is defined here, and the other one is defined here. So I have two functions for the mouse down button and the mouse button up. You do nothing when you intercept the down button. I'm not sure why you have to do that, but you do nothing. If you just check that if it is in fact for your edit box that this message has been sent, that's what you can detect by checking the value of the AutoHotkey constant, or not constant, but AutoHotkey variable, system variable, a GUI control, and then you do nothing here. But where you can intercept and create or adapt the context menu is on the button up. So when the user does the button up, so you check again that this button up message has been received for the control that interests you, because this message could happen for any click on your GUI, but you have to check that it's done for your edit box, which is the name that I gave when I built the GUI. So where do I build the GUI? I built the GUI. Oh, here at the beginning is very simple GUI. So here is the name of the edit box in my GUI. So when I launch it, it creates this edit box here where I can type. And when I right click here, it will be my own menu that will appear instead of the one that is built by Windows. What my function does when there's the mouse up button is that it will detect if there is text selected, and if yes, it will enable the cut, the copy, and the delete entries. If not, it will be disabled. And I have also a way that maybe is not adapted to this script, but to undo. So if something has been changed in your edit control, then you can enable the undo button. But for now, if I select some text here, I will, oh, it doesn't work. Oh,
of course not, Jean. We're in a live.
Of course, yeah, we're live. Yeah, it works in my own. Yeah, so whatever, yeah, we'll debug. So that's part of developing is debugging. So we have this menu here, we have the button up. So what we have here is that if the control is my edit box, I will, okay, I have a few strings here that are not the right control. So that's why I adapted from another script. So let's change. So here, for the undo, I won't do it because I would need to have a button. If a button is enabled, then it means that some change has been done in the content of my control of my edit box. And if yes, I will enable the undo. If there has been no change, I will not enable the undo. So let's put this one aside. We don't need it, but here I will just use the correct edit control name. I think we're good with that. So let's try it now. So the cut is cut, copy, and delete are disabled, and they are still disabled. So that's not only this.
I was gonna say, right.
Oh yeah, be enable here. Enable come. So to detect if text is selected, this is this function that is called here. And what it does, and here it receives, this function receives the name of the control, and it does a DLL call to something that I don't know the details, but I know that it returns, in fact, here, this number here is the number of a call to Windows that returns the length of the selected text in your control. It returns that in start and end variables. So you subtract one to the other, and it returns you here the length, in fact, of your of the selected text. And there's something. So maybe I'll just try debugging this. So I select 3. So I right click and I have this call here, which is, okay, this is empty. So that's not good. Okay, that's what is missing. So I need to give a name to my GUI. So GUI new and HDW, what is it exactly? Never sure of. HWND, HWN. And
the handle to the window, right? So
yeah, it's handle to the window. And is it in the correct place?
Get the DN still there.
I'll just check the GUI new command to make sure I put it in the right place. So GUI new options and title. Okay, so this would be the only.
You still have DN instead of ND.
Yeah, like this. And this will be the name of the GUI. So if I open it again, I'll stop the debugger. Yeah, so test, and now I will re-enable. Oh, let's just hope it will work without the debugger. Not yet, we're not there. So do we have any other questions? So I can debug my script while we talk about something else. No, not at this point.
No, but I can help talk while you review. I was trying to find it. Jackie and I did I think it was a podcast. I don't think it was a webinar on doing using send message. Ian,
Yes.
someone had on the forum had wrapped it in a class. Did you figure it out?
It's just here. It's maybe there's no space here. I just put it for nothing here. No. I did it 15 minutes before our call, so that's you know,
Right.
by picking some code in my other application because the other application could not run at this point of its development. So isn't it the way we do it? So let's check here the options, H, W, and the output variable. That's what I have here. STR. Let's just check this first. So we have the variable here. Is it a global variable? Maybe it has to be declared global. It's called here. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's what. No. Please, someone have another question so that we can stop this shame on me. Okay, let's continue. Debugging process 101. So we know we have this variable here. So let's continue and put an interrupt here because that's where something is going wrong. So I right click. So we have a value here. No, we don't. Okay, because I didn't use the right name.
Hello.
Hey, Albert.
Hello, Albert.
This is a new mic for me. Can you hear me okay?
It's very nice. Very good. Yes.
Try typing something. Yeah, that's definitely better than your old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I got another keyboard too, so I don't even have to use this one.
Nice.
What are you working on?
Jean was
Trying to make
demonstrating.
some. Yeah. Okay. I'll let you go.
The last thing I heard was something about a context menu when you hit when you right click on an edit control.
Yeah, and intercepting using on message, I think you said, right, Jean, to to basically do something different than what the default is.
Yeah, because I've never tried with the edit controls because I think like the context menu is something I use all the time for just debugging scripts, or when I'm writing a new script, I'll just set it to right click to close the whole program, rather than having to click on the X or having to hit a hotkey or something. I just right click because I always have a window, so just right click the window and that closes it. But edit controls have their own thing, so I guess this is a message that can intercept. So does it pick up messages when you just right click on any other control as well?
Sorry, I'm just trying to.
I think it was on that.
Give me 5 minutes. If you have something else, give me 5 minutes and I'll be back. I'll stop sharing.
Okay.
And if you have something else, then I'll be back with something working, hopefully.
How you doing, Hellbent?
I'm okay. Just getting up.
Yeah. Been working on anything lately?
Yeah, a few things. I started actually this morning. I started working on the drop down list for the screen clipper. So all I have is like just my first doodle of it basically, but that and I've been working on a game for about a week. So you remember the old Atari game, what is it, Missile Command?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead and finish what you're saying.
And besides that, just trying to get adapt to this new computer. It's got the resolution on this thing is insane.
You didn't mention, so you got a whole new computer?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does it have an SSD drive in it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. But it does. It's the resolution is unreal. It's like the monitor is like 16 inch by 12 inch, roughly about that, I'd say. And it's got 3000 by 2000 resolution. Just insane. Like I've ran some of my programs on it, and like they're just tiny, just little itty bitty things.
Yeah. Which last, I think it was last week or the week before, we were talking a lot about the whole dealing with the scaling, right? And how the default AutoHotkey GUIs are problematic dealing with it. And then your GDI approach, where you're actually drawing the things, is just much easier to manage that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that has its own downfalls as well. Like the easiest way to work with it would be to work with layered windows, but layered windows can't use regular controls. So basically every control you would have to design from scratch.
I have something I can at least just show and demonstrate, which I released a video on it the other day, but it was to me, it was pretty neat. Let me find, here we go. Share my screen. Share this screen. I got to start Edge. Oh, and actually I won't be able to, because I have the stupid program installed.
What is this supposed to do?
Well, I'll just explain it instead of demonstrating it. But in Edge, you know, with IE, there was a COM object that we could easily control. And when you come in to Edge, if you go to here to settings, and this works in Windows 10 and Windows 11. I can actually probably demonstrate Windows 11, but not Windows 10, ironically. And then to browser or default browser. So here I have this set to allow sites to be reloaded in Internet Explorer. That turns on this IE mode capability. And then when you're in it, you can go to a given page. Let's go to here. And once it loads, I can click this reload in IE tab button. And what I found was really interesting. Now, unfortunately, this is where there's something with this. I have another program installed, and actually, let me just uninstall it because I'm not.
Okay.
Then I can demonstrate it because that'll just take a second. It's so weird. The program, when it gets installed, IE can only launch as an admin. And I've wrote them, and they said, "Yeah, we're aware of that." I'm like, "Well, you know, like that doesn't work for me." But I still occasionally install it when I need it. I don't believe I need to reboot. So now let me just refresh this page, and let me click this, and hopefully, oh, and it loaded. That was interesting. That is wild. It actually launched IE, which is not what it was doing before, which is really weird. So that setting, hold on. Reload tab in IE Explorer mode, and yet it's just totally reloading. It launches in IE entirely. Far out. That it wasn't doing that the other day.
I have no idea what you're doing. I have no idea about this IE stuff. I don't even know what I would use it for. Like, even if I wanted to get into it, I don't even know what I would use it for.
Well, in IE, and here I can demonstrate with IE. So let's say you were constantly logging into a website.
Okay.
Or wanting to rip. Well, let's do that one. Let's say, because I don't think I'm logged in. Oh, I am logged in. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. So how did it have a cart if I wasn't logged in? That makes no sense to me. Oh, but it's interesting. So anyway, let me launch that IWB2 learner tool. It almost seems like, oh, there we go. So see how I can see specific things? I can programmatically interact with this. That's what I noticed with Edge. Normally, when I did this and launched it in IE mode, I could do the same thing with this tool. I could, let's go to the forum for a better,
So I remember, I think I used that tool of yours several years ago. It's the only project that I've ever used anything like it. It was to automate some update to a website or whatever. But,
yeah. And I mean, often we'll have, there's information on a website that we want to either get or change, right? And so with IE, it's super, super easy to do that. But with Edge, there is no COM object. IE has a COM object, which we can programmatically easily do. So with Edge, most people have switched over to like using Geek Dude's Chrome class to automate Chrome. But the problem is it's much more complicated, and you're using JavaScript to program instead of AutoHotkey. Mostly, you're still programming AutoHotkey, but a lot of the times you have to do more work in JavaScript. So it's just not as clean and simple for people who aren't programmers. So anyway, I found with Edge, I was able to reload the thing in Edge. This is so weird because before this menu, this window was basically within here. It was within Edge itself. And I can't explain why.
Edge is a browser, right? Edge is the browser.
Correct. Yeah, Edge is the new Microsoft browser, and unfortunately,
when I got this, when I hooked up this, it kept trying to persuade me not to set Chrome as my thing. That was kind of annoying. That it kept.
Oh yeah, I read an article the other day where they're like really making it difficult to switch from Edge to something else in Windows 11. And they were saying that's a mistake. It shouldn't be that hard. You know, people should want to use your tool. It shouldn't be, stuck with it. But yeah, anyway, so if you look on my main page, there's a post that I did where now, even if it's Edge, you loaded IE mode and you can connect to the IE instance within Edge, which is the cool thing I did, which for some reason, I can't get Edge to load with IE inside it, which is really weird, but whatever. So here's the function you can get to do it. And actually in this video, mute it. Yeah. And then, so here, because in the video, when I did it the other day, I'm demonstrating. So now you can see Edge is here and I'm dragging to it. So even though I'm still within Edge, I'm able to programmatically drag to it and set values and change things. So that was a pretty cool thing.
And how is it doing that? So it's not reading, it's not directly interacting with Edge. It's somehow translating it to COM. I mean,
no. Well, when I dragged this into here, I was really surprised because it relies on IE, and yet this was Edge. And after some digging, what was happening is this tool, compared to the normal tool how I connect to it, used the ACC library to connect to IE. And when I studied that, I looked at it and I showed it to Tank, and Tank said, "Yeah, that does work, but if you reload the page or whatever, it's going to break the connection because the ACC the whole DOM gets rebuilt and that connection will no longer be there."
Okay.
And so he wrote a new way to connect to it, still programmatically, but it basically just looks through. When the old way that I would do it, it would look through a run of the Windows shell, I think is what it was. It looked for running instances of IE, and that didn't work because IE didn't show up in that list under Edge. So we just had to kind of change how we accessed it. And it was way over my head. Like, we could look at the code. It was way over my head. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But thankfully he cranked that out, and now we have a little more life in IE for now. I can't go to Facebook or YouTube because those don't support IE, right? So it's not incredibly helpful because a lot of websites now don't support IE, and you still can't do it, but it's at least better than nothing.
Joe?
Yeah, hey, John.
I'll have something working when
Oh, well, we can. I'm good to stop.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, I was setting the wrong handle variable. So the handle variable that was missing was the one of the edit control. So when you build your edit, you can give it a variable name to retrieve the content. But what we also need is to add to it an handle variable, which is named this. And now I'll just prove that it works. So if I right click here, I have items disabled, but if I have some text selected, the copy and delete and cut will be enabled. So that's the part that was not working, was this function here that get the selected text length. That was not working because the handle here was not the correct one. So now we're okay. Yes, Joe?
I was just going to ask you, you remember about a month ago when we first started doing this, Maestricht joined us at one point. Oh, we were doing the dark themes. That's what it was. And he joined us. And near the end, when he kind of woke up and started, going, he mentioned something of you can automatically grab. Was it that variable or was it the handle? There was one of them where you're like, wait a minute, what'd you do there?
Yeah, we were talking about that, but maybe it was about the GUI itself.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, because what I was first trying when it was not working is I was under the impression that I had to get the handle of the GUI itself. So when you create the GUI, you can also capture the address of the GUI itself, but here it captures the address of the control only. So that's what was needed. So, and just maybe in 2 minutes to complete the explanation of the script, when you select an item in the context menu, so here, if I do paste, for example, let me just copy something here. So when I paste, it pastes the content. I'm happy that it worked. And if you do cut, it will remove the content. So these actions, because it is your own custom menu, you have to program all the actions that the custom menu will do. So these actions are defined here. So these actions are called by, when you build the context menu here, for all the items undo, cut, copy, paste, you always call the same command. And in this command, if the menu item that has been selected is undo, then I said Control Z, which is the shortcut to do the same action, Control X for cut, Control C, Control V, del to do all these actions, and Control A for select all. So that's how I can mimic the context menu. If it was just that, it would be all this for nothing, because I just mimic what is done by default by Windows. But the reason I just remind you that I needed to do something custom. In fact, I needed to intercept before doing the action. I needed to intercept this and do something for my script, my clipboard script that I'm working on, and I won't go to this detail now, but that's the reason why I had to build this menu. So this menu is for the user, it acts as would do the normal context menu, but it allows me to do something specific for the needs of my application. So that's it, Joe. Finally, 30 minutes later.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, and let me take a step back here.
Yeah,
because I can't remember when I asked this question, because I know I asked it at some point. Not today. I mean, it was a little, months ago, I think. The topic came up of, I know with on message and send and post message stuff, you can monitor like that Windows API queue and detect when something happens. But what I wasn't sure at the time is if you can intercept and actually kill the default action. And just to confirm, yes, that's what you're saying you're doing.
Some way. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'll share again. Where's my button?
Because that, again, how incredibly powerful is that? right? Like you can change the default behavior of a program without actually even changing one byte of its code, right? You're just kind of adding on to it and tweaking what happens.
Yeah. So here I have at first I have a command here that intercept the message number 204 hexadecimal number, and then to execute that. And when I execute that here, I just do nothing. So it's a way, in some ways, to kill this action.
So but again, you're gobbling it up because you're looking at that queue, right? Or not the queue.
I'm not looking at the queue. I'm receiving a message from some queue somewhere in Windows,
right,
that I don't know more about.
Yeah.
But then when I receive the message that this action has been done for this control, so I receive this message for any control. So if I want, let me just here put, of course, I have only one control on this GUI here. I'll add a button here. So I have this button now named hello. If I right click here, it will call this button down function and show the control that has been clicked. So if I do the same thing here, it will say that it is the editor, this control that has been did, which I named str editor. So that's how you can intercept a message or an action that the user took and decide what you do for and be more specific doing this for this control.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's not like killing the action, but it's just intercepting it and doing what you want. If you want to do nothing, you do nothing. So we do nothing on the mouse down button. We do something on the mouse up, the button up action. And it is the right button. R button is right button up. That's this message here where I customize or I adapt the context menu to the fact that text is selected or not. That's what is done here each time the button up is activated.
Very cool.
We had some questions on the forum. Joe Nor asked about if AutoHotkey was interpreted language. And even if it is compiled, yes, it is still interpreted. Someone else, I think, someone else already answered that, replied that. There's some chat about IE when you were demonstrating this.
Yeah. It again, like I said, I don't surf or browse with IE, but when I want to automate a web page, if IE is available, it's night and day how simple it is to automate. So it's always my go-to to automate something just because it's so simple. And Brian asked about activating video and Zoom automatically, and it really annoyed me. I actually have that built into my code. I can hit a hotkey, and that's why I posted in here, and it'll launch Zoom, and I obfuscated my user address and password, but it'll launch Zoom and then wait for Zoom to be active and then send Alt V to it to activate the video, because I always want the video on, and it's just truly annoying that, like, at least at one point in time, I don't know if that's still the way, but at one point they killed it where you couldn't have it automatically be on. Yeah, that's how I do it. Oh, cool, Chris. That's awesome. Hopefully you're enjoying that. The GUIs are easy course. It was awesome working with Isaiah's on that Raptor X and realizing GUIs are much simpler than, at first. When you first start learning GUIs, the big thing you have to understand is they're not linear, right? You can have however many different things you have on your screen. That's what you got to kind of consider. People can come in this way or that way and be doing certain things. And I know Jean, he with QAP, and Hellbent, right? Both of them are far better GUI people than me. But I was like, oh, they are, especially with AutoHotkey, they're very simple. But and John, I don't know if you were listening at the time, but Hellbent mentioned his display now. What was it? 3,000 something?
Oh yeah, HDPI.
Oh, yeah, very, very high.
Mhm.
So he said his stuff is all very tiny now.
Yeah, you have to use the scaling.
Yeah.
And about GUIs, in fact, what you manage when you create a GUI, in fact, you have to manage the events that will be triggered by your GUI, and each control can trigger events when user click on it, when user change the content of your. So yes, it's not linear. You have to, if you have 10 items in your GUI, you may have 10 functions, 10 commands, if you're 10 labels that will react to the changes that happen in your GUI. And the most common one is the OK button or the save button, for example. So this will trigger the save action that you need to do on this GUI.
Yeah, and then just remembering, hey, when you hit that save or whatever, well, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, John, because that one automatically will go and update all the controls, right? That one's a little different.
But in fact, what the first thing you have to do when you want to, maybe I don't have example in the script I've just done here, but the first thing you have to do when you do the save action is the command is GUI hide. What is it exactly? I'm always doing it by copying. So I'll just show it here. Let me share.
He was mentioning, Chris mentioned list views. I'm like, they're so powerful. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So first thing you have to do is to tell to AutoHotkey to save the content of your GUI to the variables that you assign to each control in your GUI. So that's the submit command with no hide, because you want the GUI to be still visible. But you always have, if you forget to do that, when you will try to retrieve the content of your GUI, it will not be there, it will not be updated because you didn't submit the content of your GUI. So that's the first thing to do. And then after that, depending on the variable name, in my case, for example, I have this name, which is the name of the edit control in my quick access clipboard application that I'm working on. Then I can work with this content as if it was a variable having content in it, but it comes from the GUI itself, and it is filled the moment this action here, this command here is done. Yeah.
Joe are still beating up IE, and that's pretty, if you want to program in the other things, that's absolutely perfectly fine. I'm just saying, if I can get it done in IE in 1/10 the time of the other languages, I'm going to do it in IE, right? It's, as long as it's reliable and consistent. But and it depends also if it's something that's going to be around for 5 years. Yeah, you probably should reconsider using it. But most of the stuff I do is day to day, and if I can do something in minutes rather than hours, then I'm going to do that. And it's also it's what I know, right? So why would I learn something new if I still have something that works? But I'm still not going to sing the praises of IE. It's just so easy to automate. Hopefully we can.
I don't know how long it will stay supported by some websites, maybe some old website, but it's
agreed.
It's like Windows XP at some point,
right? Which is still around and still people using it, right? Like it's.
But they are stuck with some version. They are stuck with some version of their application. They cannot.
Sure.
Update.
Sure, but for millions of people, they're still using XP, and it still works.
That was one of my favorite versions. That was probably my favorite version of Windows.
I love the design. Yeah.
XP or 98 or XP.
Oh, 98. Oh, my worst experience was 98 Millennial.
Yeah.
That version was so buggy.
Yeah. Not as bad as, what was the one? Was it? No.
Well, I think it had like 3.5 or something like that.
3.11 was pretty stable. But compared to ME, nothing. Oh, Vista. That's what I was thinking of. Vista was also like, woo. Well, it's actually, I saw a thing the other day just saying how Windows 11, and it was really funny in the video. The guy, he had some lipstick and he was drawing on the screen of like, this is Windows 10 with some lipstick at it, just like it's just a little prettier. And I'm like, that's pretty much that. And they locked down I'm still waiting for them to let you move the taskbar to the sides because I'm like, that's
you cannot do it in Windows 11?
No, it's stuck on the bottom. You can slide it around the bottom, or you can put it on the top now, but you can't put it on the side. Yeah,
I'm really used to have this taskbar on the right side. That's one of the things I took from you, Joe, that I really appreciate. Yeah, that's
once you get used to it, it's very convenient. You can see a lot more. There's a lot of benefits to it. Did anyone else have any? Do you have any questions anything you're working on? I don't know if I missed any chats of anybody asking for help.
Joe Nor is asking about my clipboard application. Yes, I'm working on that, and I should be ready to have a beta release in a few weeks, maybe a month. Cool. So, and I'll use the Quick Access Popup platform to distribute it. So it will be in a section of the Quick Access Popup forum, and you will certainly see it, Joe Nor, as you're a very regular user of the forum.
That's awesome because Jean, several people have chimed into some of the videos where we've mentioned it, and they're like, "Yeah, I can't wait for your version of it." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not my version, but I'm sure you'd be sharing it, and when you do, I'll know about it. I'll obviously push it out there." But yeah, and the
just
more
a few words.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just a few words about this application. It's a clipboard editor and clipboard rules, so you can apply rules that will be enable rules that will be applied to the content of the clipboard when you copy something. When you put something in the clipboard, it will automatically make it lowercase, uppercase, and what I wanted to do, and I'm glad that it works, is that you can also use AutoHotkey code to define the rule that will be applied to the content of your clipboard. So that's what I'm working on. It's not a clipboard history, so it doesn't intend to replace the Windows 10 clipboard history or Ditto or Quick Clip, or I don't remember all the names, or there are lots of them. So it's something that can be added to, for example, I have Ditto to manage my history, which I prefer to Windows 10, and that existed before Windows 10 clipboard history. But there are in this application some ways to apply rules, but I wanted it to be done the way I work. So I'm working on, and it's going well.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, and I'm not knocking what you're doing, Jean, I think it's gonna be awesome. And I've been using more and more that kind of concept of monitoring the clipboard and doing something from it, because it is a very powerful thing. However, someone had written me and said, yeah, they want to do it on short bits of text and do this, and have it in GUI. I'm like, and they're not an AutoHotkey coder. And I'm like, if you don't care about it being automatically applied, right? Like the ability to highlight some text, hit a button to send, control copy, manipulate the text in memory, and send paste is very, very simple, right? Like they could easily build something that would do this themselves. But where you add that monitoring the clipboard, that becomes, more complicated.
Yeah, and you can define 20 rules that you use, and you enable only the rules that you need, and you can enable 3 rules if you want: first to make it lowercase, second to trim the beginning, third to do something else. So that's where you can build and of course you need to be an intensive clipboard users to benefit from that, because you don't do it only for one copy and paste. You do it if you need, for example, to take things from one form, put it to Excel with some transformation between the form original format to your destination format, and you have to do it 20 times, 100 times. So so that there it becomes, and I often have to do that. I'm managing music files, for example. Often I receive them in various formats, various naming convention, and which are stable, but all different from one batch to the other. So I can, when I rename these files or rename the songs in iTunes, for example, I can then have these rules to be active for 20 songs, for example. So I'm not sure it will be as popular as Quick Access Popup is. It's more targeted needs for this application, but when you need it, that's good to have it.
Well, and John, what I wanted to continue on, especially because both of you guys are big GUI experts compared to me, but I obviously I understand the concepts really well. I just don't program in them. But if you're working in something where often you want to turn on and off something or save something, for later use and have it that's flexible that you want to be able to change it, that's where adding a GUI to your script is amazingly helpful, right? In other stuff, I don't add GUIs to them because I'm just working on it and I make some minor tweaks, but I'm not doing things that I'm constantly deciding which versions or which things. And that's where having a GUI to help do that is, even if you are a programmer, it's just so much more convenient.
Yeah. If you do something for yourself and scripting in AutoHotkey, you don't really need the GUI. You can change the options or you can change the script itself. But when you want to do it for someone else, that's really the way to make it easy to adapt your application to various needs. Just checking the chat. I have to leave in 5 minutes. I don't know for you, Joe, but
I do as well. Minutes. Unfortunately, yeah. I have another meeting. And someone asked about, is there an easy way to trigger a run directory wildcard or variable? I'm lost in the wildcard. I don't know what that would mean in the run command.
Like you use a variable to run something?
To open Explorer with a given folder. If you enter run a C column /, it will open Explorer with your C drive root.
If you add it after the parameters that you're saying, after you launch, yeah. I use that in my built-in, so I always launch on the folder I want it to be. But and as a variable, I mean, and that's why I don't know if you mean, would you want to, because how would you select the variable, right? Is it from a GUI or is it something from your script? Obviously, there's file select or file and file select folder, which are built into AutoHotkey, which are very helpful. There is a form, Chris. Chris, are you signed up for the email alerts and stuff? Because if you are, then I can just I could go back and try to find it and email you the link to the form. I don't have it at the tips of my fingers. It's probably. Let me try this real quick, and then unfortunately I have to go. And sorry for cutting a little short. I just have another meeting to run to right after this.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the registration. So, oh, I think this is it. Nope, that's the.
You don't.
I'll have to. If you... Yeah, I'm only pulling up. I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, I found it. Okay. Well, actually, I'll just post the main. I have a redirect for it, but I typed it and it resolved, and I don't remember what I typed. Need to call one of 300 PowerPoint. Oh, okay. Well, honestly, Brian, I would still say you could shove all that inside QAP, right? And especially build structures of subfolders, folders and subfolders to navigate to them. I mean, that's the way I would do that in a heartbeat.
There's a question about quick access pop-up. If it's possible to, when you create group, to save Windows layout. So yes, for folders that you open with Windows Explorer. So there's a tab where you can set the Windows setting and say that you want it to be open at these coordinates and this width and this height. So for example, you could open 3 windows, one beside the other that way. Resizing and moving windows works well for Windows Explorer, but I tried also to make it with other application and it's very unreliable. For example, for any Microsoft Office application trying to resize or move them from AutoHotkey with the WinMove command. Most of the time doesn't work. Sometimes it works, but it's not reliable enough for me to integrate it inside Quick Access Popup. But at least you can do it with the Windows Explorer windows.
Awesome.
Oh, and Joe, maybe Joe North said that other tools could do it better than Quick Access Popup. Maybe he mentioned MS Power Tools.
There's no other tools better than QAP, John. What are you talking about?
For what it does, but not for what it does not.
Fair enough. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, and see you next week.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.